Grüezi! To jest początek odcinka, jednak tę scenę kręcimy już na końcu, kiedy jestem Zurychem totalnie oczarowana i już jutro mogłabym się tutaj przeprowadzić. Chodźcie zobaczyć dlaczego. Ale zrobię Wam spoiler. Zurych to jest jedyne miasto w Europie, w którym spotkanie biznesowe od kąpieli w jeziorze dzieli 10 minut.
Największe miasto w Szwajcarii jest kompaktowe, ale zróżnicowane. Raczej kojarzy się z wielkim biznesem i bankowością, ale my poznaliśmy je najpierw od strony jeziora.
Central part of Zurich is, I guess, that you do have the lake nearby, so you can go swimming in the summer, of course. Actually, people swim all year round, so they also swim in the winter. And the rule is, it depends on how many degrees it is outside. So if it's 4 degrees, then you're not supposed to stay in the water longer than 4 minutes. But there are a lot of people who actually swim all year, and now it's early November, and you can still see people swimming.
And there's a sauna?
There's a sauna right here, so of course they have the temperature bonus to go into the cold water and then refresh themselves. In the summer when it's 35 degrees or so, that's the best way to cool down. You know, when your flat is really warm and there's no way to cool off, just jump in the water here, sit on these little islands that are there. During these weeks, which are very warm, that's the only time when you can really cool off, and then it's one of the magical places.
Amazing, I already want to move here.
During weekends in the summer, you have to be very quick because it fills up very quick. And it's also good that they limit it in terms of how many people can go there, because otherwise it just gets so full. But you don't have much of that German mentality that people come in the morning and put their towel there and then come back a few hours later.
So funny.
Like,
you are the second German during this week who's telling me the story with the towels.
in the morning around 7:30, you see a whole bunch of people swimming over from there to here. Then have a coffee and then swim back again.
It's a Zurich cycle.
Here it's very respectful. Nobody screams around. Nobody plays loud music. You're just there, and I think that is also very Swiss, that you sort of respect other people.
And those rules are not written.
No, they're
It's
not
the
written.
society,
it's just,
right?
It's more the society that you feel responsibility also for the community.
W Zurychu znajdziemy pierwszorzędne muzea. To na przykład Riedberg Muzeum, które przy okazji znajduje się w najpiękniejszym parku w mieście.
So we have Villa Schönberg through this gate, and this is where Wagner got asylum in the 19th century to write Tristan and Isolde. And we'll have a look at it now.
Zurych nie jest ani szary, ani nudny. Łączy cechy dynamicznej metropolii ze spokojnym życiem na najwyższym poziomie. Odwiedzimy tu kawiarnie, najlepsze restauracje i modernistyczną architekturę.
So here we look at the Kantonsschule Freudenberg, which is a building that was built actually in 1954 till 1960 by the Swiss architect Jacques Schader. And I always find it very fascinating if you look at buildings like this, how square they are from the 50s. And when you compare them to the cars that were built at the time, which look very baroque and curvy, then you see how much more far advanced architecture was in this decade. This is a perfect example of Swiss architecture in the second half of the 20th century.
Zaraz, ale czy my jesteśmy w Szwajcarii i jeszcze nie jedliśmy czekolady?
I mean, I'm a cake guy.
Kupiliśmy mnóstwo słodkości, bo mamy niecny plan. Zakłada on wproszenie się do najpiękniejszego domu w Zurychu, jak nie w całej Szwajcarii. Ten czekoladowy torcik ze Springli ma nam pomóc.
The house was built by Hans de Marmels, who was a Swiss architect in 1962. It is the main house where he himself lived in, together with 2 other houses, and it's certainly amongst the most iconic brutalist buildings that we have in Zurich, or maybe even in Switzerland.
Dirka poznałam oczywiście przez samochody. To organizator Flicera, czyli wypraw klasykami w najpiękniejsze zakątki Europy, dodatkowo lekarz i DJ.
Pride and joy. The advantages of living in Zurich is that you have the proximity to nature, that you do have a very well-functioning public transport system also, that you have a certain diversity in the city in terms of culture, that there are a lot of friends around, I must say, and also that it doesn't take very long to leave the city. Here it's just so fast, and you can just say, well, I just want to enjoy sunset on the mountain, and you're out of town. Not saying that this is a city for old people, but it still feels quite cosmopolitan because it is so centrally located that you do have a lot of traffic coming through, and you have a very, very well-functioning airport.
Yeah, also from aesthetic point of view, you are surrounded by beautiful architecture. I think the city offers a lot in terms of art and culture.
Yeah, maybe it is the closeness to Italy also, appreciation for beauty that you have here. You can notice it in the architecture.
You're not only a doctor, you're also a creator of Flitzer. Can you describe Flitzer?
I think it's just a wild group of lunatics, friends of friends that do appreciate classic cars, but also traveling, architecture, art, music, good food. And so we really like driving, I must say, and going to different locations. And we also appreciate different kinds of cars, so it's not only a certain group of cars, we also appreciate different opinions, but that usually makes the evening talks more interesting. I mean, I try to keep Flitzer as a very open community, so it's not always the same people, but at the same time I also try to keep it small, that you don't have too many people, not too many cars that have the potential to break down, but also that you, at dinner, you can always go to different tables and you will always come into a conversation. If it's too big of a group, then you'll have little micro groups forming within it, and then it's more difficult to connect to other people. At least that's my experience, and that's why I always limit the drives to a maximum of 50 people. So here we have the original Flitzer logo design, which was stitched on a kitchen towel by my partner Leo. And it took me about 2 weeks to notice it. And then I thought, oh, actually this font is kind of nice. Let's use it for our stickers. That's how it started.
Dzień rozpoczynamy oczywiście od kawy z kawiarni, którą założyli mistrzowscy bariści.
Szwajcarskie zegarki nie narodziły się z luksusu, ale z długich zimowych wieczorów w alpejskich dolinach. Gdy prace w polu ustawały, rolnicy i górale zajmowali się drobnym rzemiosłem. Z czasem ta domowa praca przerodziła się w wyspecjalizowane zegarmistrzostwo, z którego Szwajcaria słynie do dziś. Marka IWC Schaffhausen, czyli International Watch Company, powstała w 1868 roku. Założył ją amerykański inżynier Florentine Ariosto-Jones. Jego celem było połączenie szwajcarskiej precyzji z nowoczesnym inżynieryjnym podejściem do produkcji. Do dziś widać to w kolekcjach marki Pilot Watch, klasycznym portugizerze, Portofino czy technicznym inżynierze, który idealnie do mnie pasuje.
Czas na lunch. So we are not in a very traditional Swiss restaurant, let's say.
Absolutely not.
Why we are here then?
Because for me, the Bimi, where we are, is an absolute happy place in Zurich for me. You know, obviously I like cars and food. So these are my two things that I really have a weak spot. And if someone offering good food, I'm on. And I have to say, I traveled only last year for the first time in my life to Japan. I've never been to Japan before.
Because of cars?
I was in a jury of the Concorso de Japan. If people go to Japan, what are they telling you first? They say the food is amazing. And for me it was like, yeah, the food tastes like in Bimi. Because it was really like this, because the quality and the tradition they create the food here and prepare the food is very close to Japan. And now I can judge it. Before that I was not able to judge it, but now I can say that. And Hidetomo and his whole team here, they love what they're doing and they love the food, and you really see it on the plate and you taste it in the mouth.
We can also see that you are a special guest here. Can you
Can
you show me what you have here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I have like the average one. It's
Yes.
my first time in BB.
Yes, you know, you have to work down up the career ladder. No, this is very kind. So they allow us to have our personalized chopsticks here. And you see
JP.
JP, and I think this is Japanese for JP, I hope. Maybe it says
Or-
JP, the most annoying client that we ever had.
What you can say in Polish?
Homicek, Krudicek, Mięsko, Mleko, Cześć, Kaczka.
We don't have anything from this on the plate. We have fish,
Yes.
no króliczek and chomiczek.
No
and kaczka.
homicek. We have eel, salmon, coquille Saint-Jacques, whitefish, and toro.
Great.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. What is the story about this restaurant?
And the story is that we now get our dessert, which you see is like a big iceberg. Here we go. And I always make fun about that dessert because I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So you have like, you pull everything over. It's just shredded ice. I mean,
Yes, exactly.
It's nothing else. Okay, let's try. We do it on this side with this vanilla sauce. You can try a bit of the green ice here.
Interesting.
Yes,
I would say.
Yeah.
Was this
and
like
this
a
one, I think
cranberry?
you take. Yeah, but I think the red bean. What you do is you take the ice spoon and then you dip it there. Check. This is actually very tasty. This is what they also do in different form. It's not too easy to consume,
Yeah.
but this seems to be the latest Instagram, TikTok.
Very,
Fair.
very strange.
Yes.
It's a bean,
Yeah, it's red bean.
red bean. Okay, I prefer matcha or
Whatever
one.
this is.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're doing it like a professional. It's very TikTokish.
I don't know. Zurich.
Zurich.
Zurich. Zurich.
Fast.
Zurich.
No, not the
Zurich.
not.
Zurich.
How
Zurich.
how does a cat do when it doesn't like you?
Zurich.
No, that's not existing. How does a cat do when she doesn't like you? She does.
Zurich.
There you go.
Zurich.
Yeah. Actually, Anna, there's a reason why I took you to a Japanese restaurant. Because in my opinion, the Swiss are the Japanese of Europe. They always strive for perfection. They really want to do things better than the others. They are very polite and reserved. They don't bother you with their personal opinion or bother you with your personal feelings and things like this. Very punctual, very on time and everything. Very helpful, yes. This is why I think the analogy to Japan, going in Switzerland into a Japanese restaurant, is reflecting a little bit same of the cultural equalities between those countries. And for me, living in Zurich is the most wonderful way of getting bored. If I'm sitting in the plane, destination Zurich, I'm already relaxed. I like this calmness. I mean, I live in Seefeld, which is also known as Small Berlin because so many German people live here. But I'm a guest, let's face it. And as a good guest, you have high hopes that you have good hosts. And I can say, looking back all these years being in Zurich, the Swiss people have been great hosts to me, and I try to be a very good guest.
Can you show us your favorite spots here?
Yeah, I mean, we have not enough time for that, but I love to show you some. Some I will keep as a secret as well, because I don't want to have everyone queuing in front of that new secret I might share. And but I'm happy to take you on a little tour. Yeah, sure. So we are now heading to a place called Bellevue, which is like the epicenter of Zurich, I would say.
Speaking about cars, you said that it's so cool that we are here in Zurich.
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 Yes.
Because it's so underrated in terms of car scene.
Yeah, I think so. Because, I mean, when we speak about cars, Zurich does not necessarily come to your mind as a first place, right?
Yeah.
So, speaking about the car culture, so just down, if you go over
Speaking
the bridge...
about car culture, we have like 4 trams.
Yes, okay, but that's, you know, there's no big secret because I say it also in my podcast, on the many interviews and things. I don't have a car. I don't own a car because I don't need a car because I have these fantastic things that I can use every day, which is the tram. But this is not what I want to tell you. So you go over this bridge and you come to Bürkliplatz. You see every Saturday, from morning to evening, you see the young car spotters, which I really celebrate. I really cheers to the guys. They're standing there to do what? To shoot cool cars. And on Saturdays, you really see many cool cars in Zurich. And now it's time for coffee.
Yeah.
What do you want? Hallo.
Hello.
Ein Espresso. Gerne eine Flat White bitte in klein. Ja, danke. Das ist alles. So, as I told you, this is V-Café, and V-Café has become an institution for cool coffee. Come to V-Café, come to V-Café, come to V-Café. So, no, it's really like a good place. And also the nicest staff, I have to say. They're always very nice. And you can collect points. So I will use that one now. V-Café makes your day a V-day, a victory day. Here we go. Watch it, Simon.
Ah, yeah, electric scooters.
Yeah, this
guys.
is the downfall of our society, really.
I have to say that water is really a part of a lifestyle here in Zurich. Zurich.
It is. And I mean, in general, Swiss people are people who love nature. On every occasion, they just go out to be outside. We're standing here on one of the main rivers, which is called the Limmat. And you see how clear the water is. It's very inviting, a bit cold today. But in summer, it's really like full of boats and the lake is full of people. It's very funny to see because sometimes they use the stream of the river to go to work. So whenever you work, so they have like a sealed backpack, they jump into the water.
No
joking. And then they go back or they go back home, whatever the direction of the river is. So that's one thing I never saw anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
And then-
so there's a traffic at 5
It's
o'clock.
absolutely like, Anna, you see this building floating on the river? This is called Badi. In between, which we can't see now, is like a pool, which is filled with the water from the Limmat. And this is a very special one. It's called the Frauenbadi. And it's dedicated to women only. So women have their space. They don't need to be worried about get annoyed by men and things like this.
That's nice.
Yeah. So water is very important. Another situation that I want to show you here is one of my favorite stores here in Zurich because it's called Fabrikat, which is a very like Germanic word. And Fabrikat has the most wonderful things with use and more importantly without any use.
Yeah,
But
love
in
it.
in the old quality. So I would like to invite you to have a look because we find definitely some things you will love but you don't need. And I
Okay.
think they are normally the best. Ritzi. So as I told you, I love these things that are so thought through in whatever they do in things like, by the way, this is a true Swiss invention.
Yeah, Simon
So-
loves it.
Yeah, and the Swiss invented it. It's called Sparschäler. And this is a Swiss invention and it's very practical. And you know, Swiss efficiency, if you have a toothpaste tube, you put it inside here, you roll it, that you really get the maximum out of that tube.
Okay.
I have a few of these at home.
I have to buy it to my mom because
Yes.
she's always like,
You can
Cutting.
have black or red, so they're very good. Fabrikat. Come to Fabrikat.
yeah. Oh yes.
Magnetic, by the way.
Magnetic. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's really like as I said, you find 1,000 things that you don't need in life, but they make your life
What do you
much
mean?
better.
But I don't need
No,
this
I
in
tell
my
you.
life. Of course I need it.
So this is Urania, which is now a big parking house, and you see, car culture and elegant cars is very Zurich. You see, it's sometimes the small things that makes you happy, and a small bag with lots of happiness inside.
Yeah. And Simon, I have something for you.
Oh,
Because you're the best smooth operator ever. Thank you.
I agree. And here we come to another of my favorite shops, and it's an antique bookshop.
Amazing.
You
Oh,
find
wow.
so many good places, and I mean, look at the setup of the place. I really like it. And you always find the right book for the right friend that you need a book for as a present, or if you have a dinner invitation, and so on.
Both of those two shops are
Yeah.
perfect to grab something for your
Yeah.
friend.
I really hope that this kind of shops will survive all the, let's say, mail order world. So, Anna, I think what was very cool is that I saw the city I live in a bit different thanks to you. And I hope that you understand why I really like to get bored in Zurich, because it's the most wonderful way to get bored and excited at the same time, if that makes sense.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much and see you later tomorrow in Kronenhalle.
Yeah, without camera, which also
Without
is nice.
cameras,
So
yeah.
we need to focus on ourselves. No, thank you very much for having me, and I hope that someone who watched this all over the place will love to stop by here in Zurich.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Co zjeść i dokąd pójść, jeżeli chcemy duchowego przeżycia? Jest takie jedno miejsce w Zurychu i to nie jest już restauracja, ale instytucja. Kronenhalle powstała w 1924 roku i już od samego początku była miejscem spotkań intelektualistów i artystycznej bohemy. W środku tradycyjna kuchnia w bardzo namacalny sposób łączy się ze sztuką. Znajdziemy tutaj obrazy Picassa, Giacomettiego, Miro czy Chagalla. To miejsce, w którym czas zatrzymał się w złotej erze europejskich salonów. W Zurychu znajdziemy oczywiście bardzo dużo interesujących hoteli, na przykład takie jak ten B2 Hotel Zurich. Jest to miejsce, które znajduje się w starej browarni Hürlimann. Cały klimat XIX-wiecznej fabryki został przeniesiony do współczesnej, designerskiej przestrzeni. Mamy tu bibliotekę, w której jest 33 000 książek, a na dachu znajduje się basen i spa. Idealne miejsce, żeby odpocząć po całym dniu chodzenia po mieście.
Wiecie, za co lubię samochody? Za to, że łączą ludzi, bo wieczorem czekało nas jeszcze jedno spontaniczne spotkanie.
Gaia, I'm so glad that you wrote me on Instagram because so far I had only German male perspective about living in Zurich. So your perspective will be the first female one.
It's a very vibrant city. There's always something to do. There's different type of scenes. Whether you're into car, you have also a very nice scene. Where you're into going out in the evening, or art, or design, or architecture, you can always find something to do in Zurich.
You're the owner of 996 and you're 100% car girl.
Yeah, exactly. I have 996, Porsche Carrera 2, and Mercedes SL 500 from the 90s, both from the 90s. I'm a 90s girl, so I have to own 90s car. Yeah, I started a few years ago working in the car industry. I don't know, it's just maybe an addiction.
And
So,
what
yeah.
about this car culture, car scene in Zurich? Is it big?
Yeah, it's quite big. I mean, there's a lot of cars in Switzerland. You've probably been hanging out around here, and the Kreis 1 in Zurich, there you see a lot of cars. There's a lot of beautiful old-timer cars, also
And
being
they're all
driven.
clean. They're all
Yeah.
clean.
And they
Yes.
all been driven, also as a daily sometimes. So there's a big culture around cars. It's always nice to bond with people because of cars, and then there's more to eat mostly.
So see you at the ice or
Yeah,
in the
see you at the
passes.
ice.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad that you texted me.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Następnego dnia postanowiłam kontynuować tę dziewczyńską passę albo pasję i spotkałam się z Agnieszką, która tutaj mieszka.
Przeprowadziłam się 5 lat temu tu do Szwajcarii. Uwielbiam krajobraz szwajcarski i góry, dlatego bardzo dobrze mi się tutaj mieszka. Co robi tutaj ten Range Rover? Widziałam, że robicie program w Szwajcarii na Twoim Instagramie i bardzo podoba mi się, że w końcu kobiety też są w tym lekko męskim świecie samochodów i postanowiłam do Ciebie napisać, a że mój chłopak jeździ Range Roverem, to stwierdziliśmy, że wybierzemy się razem na przejażdżkę.
Chyba nie ma lepszego samochodu na te krajobrazy szwajcarskie.
Drogi, tak.
The Range Rover has been with me since 2015. I got interested in Range Rovers through Top Gear. I'm sure many of your viewers are familiar with Top Gear, and I used to live in the UK about 20 years ago as an exchange student, which is why I got interested into British cars in general. So this kindled my love of cars in general, and when I started a job after my studies and I got a bit of money, I thought, yes, I can have a car now. But I didn't need a car. So I thought, okay, I can have a fun car. And this then led me to think, okay, maybe a Range Rover Classic.
You said you don't need a car in Switzerland. Can you say something more about that? Because I think it defines the Swiss culture, let's say?
That's a very good question. I think in Switzerland we have a very comprehensive public transport system. So in most certain circumstances you don't need a car. I work in the village next door, adjacent to where I live, so I cycle to work every day, winter or summer, rain or sunshine. Lots of my friends, they say, well, you know, in the rain, why don't you take the car? You don't get wet. But for me, the car is really my passion. So if it rains, the car will certainly stay in the garage and I will get wet instead. This car is 42 years old, nearly. It was built in 1984, which is older than myself. It's wearing its original Derwent blue color, original wheels, original interior. It's done 170,000 kilometers, so it's not a garage queen, but it certainly hasn't run during the winter because we use so much salt on the road that this is really not good.
It's freezing and I want to have a ride, but the last question, what is this hall?
That's an excellent question. So when the Range Rover was first introduced, it wasn't a Chelsea tractor, as we could call this 5th generation Range Rover that you have brought today. But it was meant as an off-road vehicle. It's a very capable off-road vehicle. This hole allows for a crank handle to be inserted and you can start the car with a crank handle if you're strong enough.
Can we do that now?
Yeah, we can, of course.
Cool. I właśnie dlatego kocham samochody, że łączą ludzi. Guys, thank you for this spontaneous meeting and for the ride. Thank you so much.
Well, it's been our pleasure and thank you for being interested in old Range Rovers. We'd love to have you again.
Thank you, Ania.
Po porannej przyjażdżce czas na Muzeum Fürgestaltung, czyli najważniejsze muzeum designu w Szwajcarii i jedno z najstarszych w Europie. Powstało w 1875 roku jako część Szkoły Sztuki Użytkowej i do dziś pełni dwie funkcje – muzeum oraz Centrum Edukacji Projektowej. Muzeum działa w kilku lokalizacjach, ale jego sercem jest kolekcja, która liczy ponad 500 000 obiektów. Przedmioty użytkowe, fotografie, plakaty. To właśnie tu znajduje się jedna z największych i najbardziej cenionych kolekcji plakatów, w tym szwajcarskie plakaty turystyczne, które stały się ikoną Swiss Design. Wystawy w tym muzeum pokazują, jak szwajcarska precyzja, prostota i funkcjonalność ukształtowały współczesne wzornictwo. To miejsce idealnie opowiada o estetyce i tożsamości wizualnej Szwajcarii, kraju, w którym design to kultura codzienności.
Oficjalnym oddziałem Muzeum für Gestaltung jest także pawilon Corbusiera, czyli ostatni budynek zaprojektowany przez tego wielkiego architekta. Modułowy pawilon wykonany jest ze szkła, stali i jego słynnych kolorowych bloków. Tutaj mijamy kościół Grossmünster, to kościół matka reformacji w niemieckojęzycznej Szwajcarii. To tutaj Zwingli wzywał do odnowy chrześcijaństwa.
Tam była Iga Świątek!
We Frau Münster znajdziemy natomiast witraże Chagalla. Zurych jest kolebką dadaizmu, trendu w sztuce, który miał przeciwstawiać się skostniałym wartościom świata i absurdowi I wojny światowej. Dadaiści postulowali nieograniczoną swobodę artystyczną i tak sobie myślę, że ta swoboda nadal jest tutaj obecna. Determinuje ją lśniąca tafla jeziora, która pełni tutaj rolę ogromnego publicznego spa, nad którym wznoszą się ośnieżone szczyty gór, do tego nieskazitelne ulice, kąpieliska, wszechobecny design. To wszystko sprawia, że Zurych, miasto, które słusznie kojarzy się z finansami i biznesem, jest jednocześnie tak bardzo swobodne. Jeżeli spodobał się Wam ten odcinek, to komentujcie i subskrybujcie ten kanał. Program napędza Pirelli, a wiezie nas Range Rover.